There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With over 140 channels in your vehicle, your all-access trial includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.
What's going on, everybody? And thanks for tuning in to this Friday edition of CMA Connected presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. And on today's show, we're going to flip the switch a little bit and get into what I call the fastest growing category in mobile electronics, in my opinion, and that is ADAS. So driving solutions, safety, and all that type of stuff. With us today, we're going to be focusing on a brand that is certainly a heavyweight in the segment. And along with that come three experts that are going to join us on a panel so that we can all get our learn on and learn a little bit more about the latest products and technologies that exist within this market, either for consumer use, and we're definitely going to delve into a little bit of fleet and commercial use as well. The brand, of course, is Rostra Accessories, who is owned by Vox Electronics. So let's get the show underway. We've got, like I said, a great panel of experts that's going to help us navigate us through this segment and a couple different products that I think might get your interest. So first and foremost, I'd like to invite to the show, once again, we had him on during our industry week. He's a specialist in this field. Of course, his name is Bill Simmons. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Ben. How are you?
I'm really, really good today. It's Friday. Got the weekend ahead of us. But before we do that, we got some learning to do.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's always a pleasure having the Vox team on because the Vox team is deep from all over the place. You said you are situated in North Carolina. Am I correct?
I am. I am at Rostra's headquarters in North Carolina. Yep.
So Rostra's is headquartered in North Carolina. Very best.
Indeed.
But you're not alone today. We have some of your teammates that will be joining us. This next person, of course, is product manager over at Vox, and he's no stranger to CMA either. His name is Daniel Bisceglia. How are you, Dan?
Good, Ben. How are you?
Excited to have you on today because I know you are the guy that always brings on the new stuff, what's coming. And I know you're probably prepared for this, and you probably know that I'm going to ask you anyways what's coming new. And hopefully we'll have a chance to squeeze a little bit of info out of you today.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some stuff to talk about towards the end about new technologies and new products we're bringing to market this summer.
Exciting stuff. Last but not least, we're going to welcome a gentleman who is in charge of the sales portion of things. He's new to CMA, but happy to have him. And he's all the way coming from Long Island. I should mention, Daniel, you're up in what part of the world are you?
Detroit, Michigan, Motor City.
Detroit. Motor City. So we go from North Carolina to Motor City and now to Long Island. Michael Lavelle, how are you, sir?
Hey, Ben. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about some ADAS stuff in Rostra. So hopefully we can get there because the purpose of this show, as you know, we are talking to dealers, and I try to continuously message that this is a category that everybody needs to take a closer look at for several reasons. First and foremost, profitability and demand. We cover on this show and CMA for that matter. Fun stuff too, right? We do car audio and mobile audio, power sports and stuff, and that's great. But this is a category that people don't necessarily walk in the store asking for all the time. So it's something that you need to educate yourself on to know that these are things that are available. And once you let your customer know that these type of technologies are available, I think you'll see that there is a lot to reap from this category. Yep. So I'd like to start off maybe from a sales perspective. Would you agree with what I just said, Michael?
Absolutely. I mean, we always try to educate our dealers, whether they're traditional retail or expediter that focus on car dealer type of business, to always look for additional areas of opportunities to utilize some of the products that are already familiar with those types of customers. So, my thing is I've always preached with if retail is a little slow, is to try to get out there and go to where the vehicles are. And in some cases with the Rostra products, you might be heading in directions where it's a little bit unfamiliar, but that's where we're here to assist. And, there's a lot to be had in the ADAS space when it comes to a fleet and commercial arena.
I was just going to say, commercial is such a category also that's expanding. A lot more retailers, especially in Canada, are starting to understand how that whole system works and how that customer works. Now, would you say, I think Rostra presents products that satisfy both consumer and fleet or commercial applications, right, Bill?
Oh yeah, very much so, very much so. And like you said, fleet side of things is growing, and like Mike said, it's a fantastic way to supplement some of your retail business. So when car stereos slow down a little bit, get out there and beat the streets, and actually find some fleet business to pick up. Yeah,
it's cool doing a custom stereo once a month, but it's also cool doing 50 trucks.
Indeed.
You know what I mean?
So. Yeah.
And it's rinse and repeat a
Yep.
lot of the times. Once you get the first one or two down, then you don't necessarily need to send your highest end tech to get the rest of the job done, as long as you show them the first few. So anyways, that's another conversation. But what say you that we maybe start with the presentation?
Sure.
What we're going to be talking about today. So
Absolutely. All right. So I'll go ahead and start out. And before I start talking about the products themselves, I wanted to, if I could, just give a brief history of who Rostra is, where we come from, and where we are now. So a lot of people know the name Rostra, but if you don't, one important fact to keep in mind is that the company itself has been around since the 1980s. It was initially set up as an offshoot of the electronics manufacturing division of the Dana Corporation. When the company was founded, we actually had the name Rostra Precision Controls, and most people that have come to know that name over the years know us specifically because of our development chops, if you will, with cruise control systems, but also because of the work that we've done developing repair components for automatic transmissions. In 2014, Rostra acquired a heavy-duty truck parts manufacturer out of New Jersey by the name of Vehicle Safety Manufacturing, VSM for short. VSM is well known in the industry for its lighting manufacturing, both incandescent and LED lighting for tractor trailers. And these days, VSM is actually the largest manufacturer of turn signal switches for heavy truck applications. A little later on down the road in 2017, Rostra acquired a Jacksonville, Florida-based manufacturer of LED lighting known as Our Automotive, who specializes specifically in LED lighting products for Toyota vehicles. And then in 2018, I mentioned just a second ago the work that Rostra Precision Controls had done with automatic transmission repair components. Rostra actually sold off that division of our company, which was known as Rostra Transmission, and we became Rostra Accessories, a name that kind of enhances a little bit the fact that our core business at that point was accessories for vehicles. And kind of like my bullet point here shows as well, in early 2020, Rostra was acquired by Vox International, is now part of the Vox Electronics Corporation portfolio of brands. And Vox, via Rostra, is control products globally. We have a number of different global partners that we work with to put together specific applications in specific regional markets. But at this point, Vox is the only company, if you will, that's dabbling in aftermarket and add-on cruise control systems and speed control devices. So with all of that said, I wanted to, if I could, hop in and just give a brief overview of the vehicle-specific speed control and cruise control devices that we manufacture. Now, whenever I start a presentation like this, I always like to ask, why exactly in the year 2021 are we talking about cruise control technology when you think about federal vehicle fuel mileage standards that are in place? And the fact of the matter is, cruise control on vehicles is still not standard equipment for most OEs across their entire spectrum of vehicles. And from the customer side of things, it's an often overlooked feature on a vehicle. When you go test drive a vehicle, typically you're only in the car for a few minutes. You might be driving around on a city street. Maybe you spend a few minutes on a highway. But a lot of people don't actually realize that the vehicle that they've just purchased doesn't have cruise control on it until after the purchase is complete. So it's a bit of a surprise sometimes. Now, what Rostra offers is vehicle-specific applications for adding cruise control to vehicles. We have kits that are available for almost every car on the market these days that has an electronic throttle control system. The majority of the applications that we have are completely plug-and-play installations where the installer only needs to give it a good ignition power source and ground connection. And then, of course, every kit that we sell has vehicle-specific installation instructions, so we can guide the installers straight to where they need to actually make connections on vehicles. And once installed, the customer's got cruise control right away. So in terms of the different categories that we have under our speed control heading, like I mentioned, we've got the vehicle-specific cruise control systems. We've got vehicle-specific cruise control systems with voluntary speed limiting and memory settings, which I'll get back to in just a minute. And then we've also got vehicle speed limiting systems that are completely hard-coded and don't have any way for a driver, once it's installed on a vehicle, to actually go above a set speed limit. And again, I'll come back to those in just a minute too. So when we talk about the basic cruise control systems, what you've got on the screen here now is a common kit components that we have for our cruise control systems. Starting out in the bottom left-hand corner, all of our kits include a control module with firmware that's written to it that is vehicle specific. We have a left-hand mount control switch, which mounts to the shroud that surrounds the steering column. We have an accelerator pedal interface harness. This is one of the components that's in this kit that will vary by kit number because, of course, different vehicles have different accelerator pedal styles. We've got a interface harness for the OBD2 system. This plugs directly into the OBD2 port to pick up information that the cruise control needs to operate, such as the vehicle's current speed and whether or not the driver has touched the brake or not to disengage the cruise control. And then directly related to the control switch in the bottom right-hand corner, in the top left-hand corner, we've got an extension harness that is included with this system because you can't ever guarantee that the control switch is going to be in the same place on the shrouds around the steering column on most vehicles. So we include this extension harness that allows you to move that control switch around to wherever it's going to work best for the driver. So what you see on the picture there, again, is just the core components that make up most of our add-on cruise control systems. It's not a lot of items in the box, and like I mentioned, it's really quick to install. Most times you can have cruise control added to a vehicle by a good installer in an hour to an hour and a half.
Just real quick, I don't even see any open wires.
Yeah. Again, everything's plug and play. We've got these beautifully molded connectors that match exactly what's on the vehicle. And again, the open wires on this one are kind of hidden by that harness in the top right-hand corner. There's a fuse holder in line if you look closely, but that's just where we make our power and our ground connections to power the whole system.
Wow.
Yep.
Very simple from an
Indeed.
Installation standpoint.
Indeed. Very much so. Very much so. Now, an offshoot of this product category is our vehicle-specific cruise control systems with built-in memory and speed limiting functionality. Now, the components that I'm going to show you in just a minute will match almost exactly what you just saw on the last slide. But the difference between these two kits primarily is the control switch that's included with them. The control switch that you see on the top of this particular picture is the one that's included with our basic cruise control systems. Now, the cruise control module, the small black box that's included with these systems, has always had a lot of extra potential that we simply weren't able, using the control switch that's in the top of this picture, we weren't able to access that. That necessitated the production of the control switch that you see at the bottom of this picture, which is a more modernized control switch, but it's actually got a couple of different buttons on it that the one at the top does not have. In particular, this control switch allows a driver to activate a voluntary speed limiter. So an example of why somebody might want to use that is if they're driving around in an unfamiliar area, they'd like to avoid getting an accidental speeding ticket. So using the button that's at the top of this control switch, they can accelerate the vehicle to a specific speed, let's say 35 miles per hour. They can flip that switch to the right, and what it will actually do is set a speed limit for them on the vehicle that they can't actually go above that speed using the gas pedal. So it's a nice voluntary way of keeping yourself under a certain speed limit. And then likewise, on the bottom of this control switch, there's another tab with a button that's listed MEM1 and another button MEM2, MEM1 and 2. The control module that's included with these systems has always had a long-term memory functionality built into it, where if a driver has specific speed settings that they like to use on any given day, kind of like storing a radio station in your radio, you can actually store speed settings within the cruise control module. Good example of this would be somebody's driving down the highway on a regular basis. One part of the highway is 45 miles per hour. Maybe the other part of the highway is 65 miles per hour. They could program the memory 1 location for 45 miles per hour, the memory 2 location for 65 miles per hour. And whenever they want to get to those speeds, all they have to do is flick the switch one way or another. So to accelerate to 45 miles per hour, maybe they flick it to the left. When they get to the part of the highway where the speed actually increases, without even touching the gas pedal, all they have to do is flick that switch to the right, and it will actually accelerate up to 65 miles per hour. And again, when they need to slow down a little bit, maybe it changes back to 45, they flick that switch, let the vehicle coast down naturally, and once it gets to 45 miles per hour, it will pick right back up and hold that vehicle speed at 45 miles per hour. So those are some cool, unique features, again, that we just were not able to access using that control switch that you see in the top of this picture. So we developed this one that you see in the bottom of the picture. And again, getting back to some of the core components of these kits, bottom left-hand corner, we've got the control module with all the software and firmware to actually control the speed on the vehicle. Bottom right-hand corner, it says a picture of that control switch. You'll see the pigtail harness coming out the back of it. Top right-hand corner, that of course is another one of our many accelerator pedal interface harnesses that allows that control module to talk directly to the accelerator pedal to tell the vehicle's onboard computer to hold a certain speed. And then, of course, top left-hand corner, that's another one of our OBD2 style caps, which plugs directly into your diagnostic port. So the cruise control system knows what speed to hold, and again, whether or not a customer has or a driver has pressed the brake pedal to disengage the cruise control. It will do that, all of that automatically directly through the OBD2 system. And while we've got these cruise controls, like I mentioned, for practically every passenger vehicle on the road these days that's got an electronic throttle control system, we have a lot of really popular applications for 2020 year model fleet vehicles and vans, your Ford F-150s, your Chevrolet Silverados and Colorados, as well as a number of the vans out there that are being used for utility purposes, Nissan NV, Ram ProMaster vans, things like that. And of course, if you ever want to look up a specific vehicle to see if we've got a cruise control for it, please, I invite you to visit the website at Rostra.com. We've got a great vehicle search at the top where you can plug in your vehicle's year, make, and model and see not just the cruise control systems, but everything else that Rostra offers for those vehicles too.
All right.
Now, with regards to the cruise control systems, I mentioned both of those two types that we make actually have a control switch that actually allows you to modify settings and change the speed. Rostra also offers, and this is very popular for the fleet market, is hardwired, hard-coded speed limiters, which once installed on the vehicle, the driver has no way to manipulate. So what we offer, like I just mentioned, is systems that have a speed hard-coded into it that a driver can't modify. Much like our cruise control systems, the installation is practically plug and play. Each of the modules that's included with these devices has vehicle-specific software and firmware. We offer these kits with 4 different speed limit settings, 65, 70, 75, and 80 miles per hour. But if a fleet owner has another speed setting that they would like hard-coded into a vehicle, we can, of course, do that on certain bulk orders. And much like our cruise control, these devices are available for every popular fleet vehicle that's out there. The kind of the thing I like to say about this is if we've got a cruise control for it, then we've also got a speed limiter for a specific vehicle. Now on the screen here, a picture that probably looks relatively similar to the last 3 that you've seen. We've got a control module that handles all of the speed limiting. We've got a harness that's included with this kit that connects or talks directly with the accelerator pedal and basically tells the onboard system on the vehicle not to go over whatever speed is programmed into this module. And then we've got a diagnostic connection harness. Now, Ben, a few minutes ago, you mentioned no open wires. This is one of those instances where you would have some open wires that would need to be soldered into place. The cruise control systems that we have, if you remember my previous pictures, had an OBD2 cap that would fit directly on the diagnostic port. With a speed limiter, again, you don't necessarily want to give the driver any way to disconnect that or modify that, especially if you're a fleet owner. So this harness right here actually solders onto the wiring that's on the back side of that OBD2 port that you would normally plug a cruise control into. That way there's nothing, for example, that a driver could just reach down and unplug and completely disable the speed limiter that the fleet owner spent so much money on.
No doubt. Now, just before you continue, a big question for me. Is this speed limiting system compatible with the cruise control system? Can I have both?
Yes, technically you can. You sure can. And again, all of that is done in the control module itself. Not to oversimplify it, but it's just a number of settings that we would have to set in the module at our manufacturing plant. Yes, and to kind of piggyback on that same comment, Ben, these devices can actually be used on vehicles that have cruise control from the factory as well. So if the vehicle's got factory, you can always factory cruise control. You can add these speed limiters to them too.
Cool. Okay.
Yep. So a couple of the benefits that you have of these speed limiting systems, again, installation time from the installer's perspective is minimal. You're in and you're out very quickly for the customer. It gives fleet owners peace of mind knowing that their vehicles are out on the road and they can't go over a certain speed limit. Likewise, for parents of new drivers, we talk about this stuff being for fleet owners, but if you've got a 16-year-old at home and they're just driving for the first time and you'd like to limit the speed of the vehicle, you can absolutely do it with these kits. As I mentioned, the speed settings cannot be modified by the driver once it's installed. All of that takes place on our end-of-line programmer in our manufacturing plant only. There's no software out there that would allow anybody to make any modifications to these kits. The kits themselves also kind of represent a one-time purchase. There's no subscription fees for something like this. There's this with telematic suites. So you're not paying any monthly fee. It's a one-time buy-in, and the speed limit of the vehicle is set. So just to reiterate here, we've got your vehicle specific cruise controls that allow you to add classic cruise control functionality to a vehicle. We've got the cruise control systems with speed limiting functionality. And then of course we've got the hardwired speed limiters where once set, the driver can't go above a certain speed. So that kind of wraps up cruise control and speed control technology for this morning.
Nice. I'd like to ask a question to Michael. From a sales perspective, do you see the trend leaning more on the commercial fleet side of things, or do you think there's definitely a lot of space in the consumer space for this type of product?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Certainly with regular passenger vehicles, if like you had alluded to, if you have a car dealership that received in a delivery of 50 Toyota Corollas that don't have cruise control, especially being in Canada, where there's a lot of land and there's a lot of space in between places.
A lot of highway.
Cruise control is a nice feature to have. Being in New York, we don't get a chance to use it all that much, but like we know from places in the United States as well as Canada where there's long drives in between that are just long highway stretches. It's a great feature to have. And, as Bill alluded to, it's still not there on a lot of vehicles. It would surprise a lot of people. And then on the commercial fleet side of things, certainly it's peace of mind for the fleet owner. Instead of maybe having a telematics product on the vehicle that's going to report what's happening, this is a more proactive way of looking at it to limit the overall speed that a vehicle can reach, so that that the vehicles that your company has out there are not going to exceed the speed limit in extreme situations.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of benefit to that for sure. And the fact that you're telling me that a lot of vehicles don't have cruise control is a little bit mind-boggling. I mean, personally, I can only speak to what I personally have experienced. I've never owned a vehicle without cruise control. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if there's a lot, that is definitely a feature, especially like you said, those that do a lot of highway, which there is a lot of highway up here. Or if you've ever been to Canada,
absolutely,
we do a lot of driving. I can't live without cruise control. That's like terrible. But anyhow, all right, great. What are we talking about next, gentlemen? Let's keep it going.
All right, thank you, Ben. So what I want to talk about next is a product category that we have available here at Rostra, which is called Trailer Connect. Now, what Trailer Connect is a series of heavy-duty harnesses and connectors that allow somebody to add 1, 2, 3, or 4 cameras to a trailer that they're towing behind a vehicle. Now, the idea behind something like this is it really helps the driver to eliminate blind spots while they're on the road, and it just makes tough tasks like backing up a trailer much more convenient and much safer for the driver. Now, the systems that we have are available in 4 different varieties. We have camera systems, and I'm starting at the top left-hand corner here. Part number 250-8721-KIT. This is a kit that will allow somebody to add 1 camera to a trailer. So for a basic backup camera, you could use a kit like this. Now, we also offer the kit at the bottom left-hand corner, which is designed to add 2 cameras to a trailer. And top right-hand corner here is 3 cameras to a trailer, and the bottom right-hand corner here is 4 cameras to a trailer. Now, some ideas about how you might want to use cameras on a trailer include being able to add cameras to the side of a trailer so that you can kind of cure any blind spots that are beside the trailer. So you can add cameras to the left and the right. You can easily add a backup camera to the trailer as well, which, like I mentioned in the introduction, allows you to more easily back up a trailer. But you can also monitor in real time what's right behind the trailer when you're on the highway. And likewise, while we talk a lot about exterior cameras on a trailer, it's entirely possible to actually use a camera on the inside of a trailer. So the depiction that I have here on the screen right now is one of the many, many cameras that we offer that has infrared LEDs. So in a dark trailer, it will light up and actually show you what's going on inside the trailer. And something like this is nice because, you know, we hear from customers at a lot of trade shows that tow motorcycles and ATVs and UTVs, and other customers that, you know, they've got horse trailers and they need to be able to monitor the horses that are in the trailer while they're on the road. These cameras on the inside of the trailer just offer a completely different dynamic for actually having video while you're on the road. Now, the way that these systems work, as I mentioned, we've got the harness kits that allow 1 through 4 different cameras. And when you're ready to hitch the trailer to the truck, one of the coil cables that's included in the kit basically screws into the connector that's on the trailer and then screws into the connector on the truck and then is ready to deliver video from those cameras that are on the trailer to whatever video display you have in the truck. And so for each of these 4 kits, you've got a lot of different options in terms of how you actually want to display the video. At Rostra, we've got 3 great monitor types to carry, to choose from. We've got this guy that I've got on the screen right here, part number 250-8220. That's a 7-inch monitor, which would be great for either the 1 or 2 trailer camera systems because it's got 2 video inputs, and you can either in your wiring trigger these cameras to come on automatically using something like the turn signals on a vehicle, or you can actually use the buttons on the face of the monitor to switch back and forth between the cameras in real time as the driver needs. The next monitor that we have is another one of our 7-inch models, but the specs are bumped up a little bit in terms of the fact that this one will actually handle 4 cameras. So you could do the 1, or 2, 3, or 4 camera system. And this this monitor in particular, like I mentioned, the harness that's included will allow you to trigger the cameras to turn on automatically using something like the left or right turn signal or the reverse trigger. So when you shift into reverse, it shows you what's behind the trailer. And likewise, this actually has a quad split screen capability where you can see 1, 2, 3, or 4 cameras on the screen at a time. And you can, of course, use the remote control that's included with that to actually select the camera that you want to see, or you can actually use the buttons on the face of the monitor to select the camera that you want to see at any given time as needed. Now, step up from that is this guy right here, part number 2508290. This is another 4-channel monitor, but this one is actually a 9-inch monitor. And some of the same specifications still apply. So you've got the 4-camera input, you've got the split screen capability, you've got the wires built into the harness that allow you to trigger the cameras on and off automatically in relation to the turn signal being activated, for example. You can activate the cameras using the buttons on the face of the screen as needed. And of course, the remote control there in the picture that allows you to kind of sit back and use the remote to power on the cameras there as well. So that's Trailer Connect in a nutshell. It's 4 different kits that we offer. We have these kits available with a variety of cameras. You can purchase any one of the Rostra monitors that we have to actually display video on your dashboard with a monitor that's either permanently or temporarily installed in place. Now, beyond Trailer Connect and beyond using one of the Rostra monitors that we have, perhaps you've got a modern vehicle that's already got a screen in the dashboard. You don't necessarily want to add another monitor to the top of that dashboard. So what we actually offer people the capability to do is add an automatically switching camera system to display camera video from a trailer on their factory in-dash monitor. Now, what I've got in this slide right here is the typical components that are included with one of these kits. What is in this kit right now, basically, is a single camera trailer system. We have in the picture here, kind of the top right-hand corner, an automatic camera switcher, which can detect when a trailer is connected to the vehicle and when it's not. We've got top right-hand corner there, we have an interface harness that plugs in directly to the factory wiring underneath the truck. And this is just a short video real quick to show you exactly how you connect these T-harness connectors in place. One is connected directly to the harness that's running up to the screen, and then the other one is connected to the harness that comes from the factory camera that's in the tailgate handle. And once you've got your connections made, bottom left-hand corner of this slide, we see that coil cable, which I showed a video of before, showing one connector that goes to the truck, the other connector going to the trailer. Now, how this system works in a nutshell is, let's say you've got your truck and you're ready to hook up to your trailer. You shift the truck into reverse, and of course, what it lights up on your in-dash screen is the factory backup camera that's built into the tailgate handle. So on your screen, you basically get this approximation right here that allows you to quickly and easily back up to a trailer using your factory backup camera. Now, once your trailer is actually hitched to the truck, you'll use that coil cable. This is the video you saw before from the Trailer Connect section to connect the truck to the trailer itself. And because this system has an automatic camera switcher that knows when a trailer is connected and when a trailer is not, whenever you shift the truck back into reverse again, instead of showing you the video feed from the tailgate handle camera, what you're actually going to see is the video feed from the back of the trailer, the camera on the trailer that you've installed. So again, this screen right here kind of gives you a good approximation of what that looks like. So once you've disconnected the trailer, again, the automatic camera switcher that's included with this system intelligently knows that there's no trailer connected anymore. And whenever you shift your truck back in reverse again, you're going to go right back to seeing that factory tailgate camera on the screen itself instead of a blank screen.
Bill,
so
I have to stop you before you go through the next part because
yes,
I can't wait anymore to say this. That is a game changer right there. That's
Indeed.
a game changer moment. I use that term not all the time, but this is a game changer moment because if you own a trailer, and I own a few trailers, RV, trailer, whatever it is, it's already cool that you can put a monitor on your dash. Great. I'm not going to say that is cutting edge technology. It's been out for a bit.
Sure.
This, what you're showing me, is OEM integration at its finest.
Yep.
Because what you've done here is you've managed to get a T-harness that literally plugs into the output of your factory reverse camera and connects this new camera, and you don't have to add anything to the dash. You're using factory. How many trucks these days come with that backup camera embedded in the dash? You're showing one example, but there are dozens of examples of this right now. I think that is brilliant. I really do. How easy it is. It automatically senses when you're in reverse. Yeah, game changer. Just had to
Yep.
say that.
And to your point, Ben, there are trucks that have the wiring in place already that don't actually have a backup camera in the tailgate handle.
Oh, yes, I see. So,
You've got Ford's Sync 3 system with the 8-inch monitor that goes back to 2013 and 2014 on some of these trucks, where Ford included the monitor, but they didn't actually include a backup camera. But the wiring is in place, and so these kits actually allow you to add a backup camera to a vehicle that didn't have a backup camera.
So let's say in that example that you just mentioned, Bill, I can also add a backup camera in the handle, I suppose, and I know Vox makes one of those for sure.
Indeed.
And then add this system, and now you truly have what you illustrated. Now,
100%.
what if I have a vehicle? I'm thinking about my truck in particular. It's a 2013 Silverado 1500. It has no screen or backup camera. It's got nothing.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah. An ideal use case for that would probably be one of the aftermarket monitors. Likewise, if you don't want to have that big monitor on your dashboard, we of course offer a wide variety of replacement rear view mirrors that will allow you to actually see that video feed directly in the rear view mirror itself.
So it'd be that kit plus tailgate backup camera plus mirror kit.
Plus a mirror, and of course we've got the mirrors that have the OnStar control buttons built into them as well. So if you use OnStar, if you have an OnStar subscription, you can keep accessing that service as needed, but have a mirror with a nice large 4.3-inch monitor built into it.
So I know Vox might not be in the source unit game, but I want to ask because we're talking about integration.
Yep.
If I did get an aftermarket source unit that has a screen that does have video inputs, I could use that as well.
100%. And with that camera switcher, again, everything stays the same at the back of the truck. The only difference there is that you would have to run one of the video feeds from the back of the truck to the front. But while all of the harnesses that we have a nice heavy-duty weatherproof thread-together 4-pin connection, we also offer RCA adapters, so you can plug it into the back of any in-dash screen out there nowadays. Yeah,
as long as it has some form of video input,
Correct.
We can handle it.
Correct.
I'm satisfied. You can continue. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you very much. So again, just looking at some of the components there, we've got the single trailer camera system, an automatic switcher, factory plug-in connector, or like Ben mentioned, you can do something universal into an aftermarket source unit. And of course, with the factory connectors, we've got them available for every major truck manufacturer that people actually tow with, General Motors, Ford, Ram trucks. So those kits are ready to go. And again, I would invite you to look at Rostra.com. Use the vehicle search that we have at the top of the website to see what we have available for you for these trailer connection kits. Now, speaking a little bit more about factory backup cameras, the next category that I wanted to touch on here is the tailgate camera relocation systems that we also have available at Rostra. So first and foremost, what are they? Why are they needed? Now, there's a lot of reasons why somebody might actually need to remove their tailgate from their vehicle, but still need backup camera functionality once that tailgate has been removed. The kits that we offer allow somebody to move backup camera functionality from within the tailgate handle to somewhere else. And that somewhere else part of this can mean a lot of different things. Couple common reasons why people might do this or why installers might do this. Somebody has perhaps removed the entire bed of a truck in order to make room for an aftermarket service body. Perhaps somebody tows a fifth wheel trailer on a regular basis, which in some instances completely blocks the tailgate. In other instances, because of the way that the hitch is installed in the bed of the truck, requires you to remove the tailgate altogether. A lot of folks out there are adding these camper shells and things like that to the back of their trucks, camper shells and sliding campers, which don't allow you to have the tailgate in place. Somebody might be using off-road equipment like a swing-out tire carrier that attaches to the bumper of the truck. It allows you to carry an extra tire on the back of the vehicle, but when it's closed, it completely blocks the camera that's in the tailgate handle from the factory. And then, people, of course, are ordering cab and chassis model vehicles that, quite frankly, from the manufacturing plant, don't have a bed on them whatsoever. And really, no matter what the reason is that you have removed your tailgate or removed your bed or need to relocate the factory camera, Rostra's got you covered with a wide variety of applications. Now, the applications that we do have are available for practically every light-duty truck out there, from your Nissan Frontiers and Toyota Tacomas all the way up to your Chevrolet and Ford and Ram, 450, 550, and 4500 and 5500 model trucks between 2007 and 2021. The interface harnesses that we have mate directly to the OE connector that's found on the back of the truck near the rear bumper. And the harnesses that we offer that plug into our cameras are available in 5-meter and 1-meter lengths. Now, it's up to the installer to decide which of these lengths they actually need to use. But the idea is, if you don't have to go very far to mount your camera, such as down low on a license plate, you can usually get away with just using the 1-meter harness. But if you're adding an aftermarket service body that's very tall, like the one I showed in the picture a few slides back, you might need a longer harness to actually get the camera mounted up high to the top of the body. So you've got these 5-meter and 1-meter lengths to choose from. Now, the kits that we have available are both for classic analog camera technology, which is used mostly on vehicles 2007 to, frankly, 2021. We're still seeing a lot of analog cameras. And LVDS, that's the new digital camera systems that you're finding on most vehicles, or a lot of new vehicles from 2017 to 2021. When you have vehicles nowadays that are including cameras all the way around the vehicle so that you can get the 360-degree view, that bird's eye view that kind of shows a depiction of the truck from above and then shows you all 4 sides around it. That's a situation where you're starting to run into some of your digital cameras. And it can be hard for the installer to determine exactly which type of camera that they need because, again, from 2017 to 2021, there's kind of a lot of overlap between analog and digital cameras where the truck manufacturers are using both. So in a situation like that, it's important to determine what type of truck, what type of camera system it has. And from the installer's perspective, it's usually good for them to actually crawl under the bumper and actually take a look at what harnesses are there. The analog camera harnesses are typically going to be large multi-pin connectors. And popping up on the screen here, I'm just going to show you 8 different types of connectors you might find of the many, many that are out there. So you're going to be looking for large connectors like that for your analog camera technology. And then for LVDS technology, things have gotten substantially easier by having just one single harness with just a single pin connector inside of it. So there's drastic differences between the two in terms of size and how many pins a harness has. And for some of your newer vehicles, oftentimes it's good to verify what the truck has on it before ordering any products. Now, Rostra offers kits for both the analog and the LVDS technology. The analog camera systems that we offer are typically one of those 5 or 1 meter harnesses that I mentioned earlier and are paired with a Rostra camera that plugs right into that harness. We've got about 10 different camera options, which I'll get back to in just a minute. But what you see on the screen here is kind of typical components that you would get when you order one of our camera relocation systems, which doesn't utilize the factory camera. It actually uses our aftermarket camera, which in many instances is a superior camera. Take, for example, the one that you've got on the screen right now. As I mentioned earlier, this one here has infrared LEDs built into it. So you can go from having a basic camera that doesn't see really well at night to having one that will actually illuminate the entire area behind the vehicle and actually give you a better picture on screen in low light settings. Now, for the LVDS kits that we offer, we've actually got them available in 3 different varieties. The first one that you see right here on your screen is actually a camera relocation housing. What this allows an installer to do is to basically pluck that factory camera out of the factory tailgate handle, install it into this housing, which can be screwed down to really anything, an aftermarket body, for example, or a camper shell. And then if you're not planning to move the camera very far from its original location in the tailgate, this is an ideal solution for you because you can also use the factory wiring that's in place. So you can take the camera out of the tailgate, put it in this housing, mount it to whatever you want on the back of the truck, and then plug it right back into the factory wiring to keep that backup camera or that 360 view camera system. Now, in other situations, you might need to actually move the camera further away from where it was originally located on the tailgate handle. Let's say, for example, you've got an aftermarket body that's got a big door right in the middle. You might actually need to move that camera up higher. In an instance like that, we also offer the kit that you see on the screen right now, which is one of our ABS plastic relocation housings, the hardware to hold everything together and to the body of the vehicle. And to the left in this picture, you'll see a 5-meter LVDS extension harness. So again, if you're moving that camera away further from the factory wiring point, you can use a kit like this with the extension harness to connect right back to that factory wiring that's in place and maintain your backup camera right there on the factory screen. Now, there are other instances where somebody may be removing their tailgate as just a temporary thing. Like I mentioned before, perhaps they've got a slide-in camper that they only use, once a month or something like that, and they don't necessarily want to go through the hassle of removing and then adding the factory camera back to the tailgate handle every time they add or remove that camper from the back of the vehicle. In instances like that, what we sell is an application like this on the screen right now, which again is that same plastic housing on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, you've got your 5-meter extension harness. And then in the middle of this picture, what you'll see is one of these factory LVDS cameras. So you could permanently affix this camera to the back of whatever you've got on the back of the truck, whether it's a service body or a camper or a tire carrier, whatever, it could be anything. You could permanently affix that, and you could leave the factory camera in the tailgate handle that you've removed the tailgate from the truck. And then when you unload the camper shell, you put your factory tailgate back in. And again, you're right back to having the exact same functionality, no matter what equipment you've decided to add to the back of the truck. Now, with these LVDS and the analog harnesses, one thing that I mentioned earlier is it's really good for the installers, if they can, to preview the truck before they actually order any products. Now, what you're going to be looking for with these connectors, I showed a few pictures earlier of the multi-pin connectors versus the single-pin connector. And sometimes one thing to keep in mind is that the connector that you're looking for, it might be really obvious to find. In a picture like this, we're looking at a clean, brand new Ford Super Duty truck. The harness that you're looking for is hanging out right there at the back. And of course, you can get a good look at the connector that's in place, which you can compare to our website, which I'll get back to in just a second. And then there's other instances where the harness itself, it might be completely camouflaged. Maybe it's hidden behind the rear bumper. Maybe it's hidden up above a spare tire. But again, when you can get to them and plug them, it will be plainly apparent when you compare them to our website that is the actual backup camera harness. And again, the same thing applies for the LVDS cameras. I don't know if you can tell a size difference here, but that is a person's finger down in the bottom. So that gives you some idea of how small that actual connector is for these LVDS cameras. You might find them sometimes in different colors. They might be, like in this picture, white. You'll see them in orange, brown, green, just a variety of different colors. But once you see those, you're almost guaranteed that you've got one of those digital cameras on the truck.
Hey, Bill.
Yes, sir.
I'm still sitting here wondering why on earth there are 8 different connectors for a backup camera that exists.
There are far more than that. I just threw 8 on this slide just for illustrative purposes. But
finally got together. This LVDS is a godsend.
Indeed, it is. It's just a single plug, and you're ready to go. So from the installer's perspective, it's quick and it's easy, and you're in and you're out, and you're on to the next vehicle. Yeah,
very good.
Yeah. But one of the resources that we've worked really hard on with the Rostra website is giving the installers a place that they can go to preview what connectors they're actually looking for. So again, Rostra.com is our website. When you land on the homepage or any page for that matter, we have a main navigation across the top. One of the first tabs on there says accessories. And in this picture that I've got on the screen right now, that is our website with the accessories menu, which flies open once you hover over it. The third column over on the right has all of our camera relocation classifications by vehicle. That should be highlighted in red on your screen. When you select any one of those, the next slide that I'm going to show you, for example, is for the Ford Ranger. When you select any one of those, that's going to bring you over to the page for that particular truck, and it's going to show you all the different harness types that we manufacture for that truck. The Ford Ranger, just as a funny anecdote, was re-released for sale here in the United States in 2019. There's one harness that fits early 2019 model trucks. There's another harness that fits mid 2019 to 2020 model trucks. And there's another harness that fits 2021 model trucks. So in a period of basically 2 manufacturing years, Ford has changed the harness 3 different times. So
they get a Ben Wu double thumbs up for that.
Right. So that's one of the reasons why it's, if the installer can, if they've got time to get hands on the vehicle before actually ordering product, that's a really good reason to do so. So
when did you buy your car? 2020.
Yep, doesn't help you at all.
What week did you buy it? Because anyhow, we're the hour's winding down. I definitely want to get to the part where we get Daniel on about what he wants to talk about.
Absolutely. So I'll just breeze through this real quick. On our website, you can get good depictions of the harnesses just by clicking on any of the harnesses. You'll see a picture of the high resolution image, and then of course we offer 10 different cameras with each of these harnesses. That's in the bottom left-hand corner. You click on any one of those cameras and it'll give you a high resolution image on the right-hand corner. And then in the top right-hand corner, it will give you an actual part number that you use to buy the product with. Now, just to talk about one quick application that's coming out over the next couple of weeks, we've got for the 2021 Ford F-150, this is one of our LVDS kits. Ben, back to your point, 2021 Ford F-150 has options for an analog camera with a big 12-pin connector, and of course they've got this option for the digital camera with the single pin connector. So this is a hotly requested item that's coming out soon. And what I am actually going to do is go ahead and skip forward, pull up a slide here for Dan to talk a little bit about for the blind spot detection system.
Blind spot detection. So Dan, we had the opportunity to talk about blind spot detection during Industry Week, and we were going through, I guess, more of a consumer grade type offering, and a lot of. See, I can already tell by the image that Bill has put up, this is very different than what we've already spoken about. So what is making this different from what already exists, and why is this new?
Yeah, so Vox has had a line of blind spot systems for a long time that work really well. And our latest version, the ADV BSD30, has given us almost a complete OE performance in aftermarket blind spot. The biggest thing with blind spot sensors is that the majority of them are radar based, and they fit behind the plastic bumper of a vehicle. When you get into the commercial and fleet business, the biggest issue you have is most of those bumpers or bodies are made of metal, and we cannot hide a radar sensor behind a metal bumper or a metal service body. So what we've done is we've taken that sensor that we use in our ADV BSD30 and we've encased it in an external housing, and we've added a little bit of a reflective surface to it, so it adds some visibility to the truck as well. So now we're able to take that sensor, mount it on the outside, on the side of the vehicle, and now we can pick up all of those vehicles in our blind spots as we're driving down the street. So now we can add the safety and convenience of blind spot detection, rear cross traffic detection, as well as overtaking detection to all of those commercial vehicles and even consumer vehicles out there that have a metal body or a metal bumper. So this is a really cool product that we have coming out this summer. We should have it available for sales in July.
God, that's a second game changer in the same episode. Congratulations, first of all. Second of all, that's the first time I've seen external sensors in any blind spot detection or cross-traffic type of system. So very kudos to the team that put this together. I assume that you do have to put a hole to pass a wire through if you're putting into a metal bumper, or potentially RV, back trailer, something. I mean, it doesn't have to go into a truck, right? I mean,
exactly. It can go on anything. It could go on an RV, on a trailer, on a camper, It can go on anything. You do have to drill a hole for the cabling, and the sensor does mount by screwing to the body of the trailer or the vehicle. So make sure you keep those things in mind. But since it's enclosed in the housing and mounts on the side of the vehicle, there's no finding the proper angle. All you need to do is make sure you mount the left sensor on the left side, and same for the right. And then you see here, there's a label says up.
I just noticed it says up, so there
point
is a
that
left
in the
and
up
a right.
direction, and you're good to go. It's a super easy installation, and it adds a great new feature for commercial vehicles or vehicles with metal bumpers.
I'm trying to speed through my questions, but I have a couple here. Is there a recommended height from ground of where to install it? Because I know that you also have systems that you can go from the inside of a vehicle and there's different types. Is there, or can it be kind of anywhere?
So this does have a height recommendation, and it is in the install guide. So you're looking at a minimum of about 12 inches from the ground, and then up to about 36 to 40 inches high. So we do have a little bit of a variance in there. So depending on the vehicle that you're working on, if you need to mount a little higher or a little lower because of doors on a service body or something like that, you can account for that.
The red material around the black window, is that reflective as well?
Yeah, it is a reflective surface, so it does add some visibility to your truck or your trailer or your camper while you're driving at night.
Because I noticed it says commercial, but I'm also thinking consumer from a camper perspective. Bill, could you go back one slide and show the kit again, please? And if you
so we jumped over the kit here, but it comes with everything you need for installation. It has the flush mount LED indicators for the A-pillars, so that'll light up to give you the warning that the car is in the blind spot. It comes with a speaker that has a high and low volume, so you can set that to whatever you need for your vehicle. And then it uses GPS for speed detection. So we can turn this on and off as we're driving at lower speeds. That way we can eliminate some of the false warnings that may occur.
And you said cross-traffic detection as well.
Yeah, so it'll do blind spot detection, and it also has that overtaking feature. So it'll detect whether a vehicle is passing you or you are passing a vehicle, which is really cool. And then it has the rear cross-traffic detection. So if you're in a parking lot or you're at a gas station and you need to back up your truck or your trailer, you can have that blind spot rear cross-traffic detection give you a warning if someone's entering the zone.
I gotta say, my prediction is this is going to take the commercial side by storm. I can think of so many companies, brands that would definitely benefit from this, just from a safety perspective. So, okay, we don't have a lot of time left. So here's kind of what I want to review. You know, we talked about the cruise control, which definitely got to learn on that. The cameras for trailers, you know, with the monitors that are optional. I feel the game changer is definitely the switch that detects the reverse. I mean, that right there, that's an easy sale, guys. Like, are you kidding me? Anybody with the closed trailer, they would want that. And last but not least, the commercial, quote in quotes, version of the blind spot detection. So I'm going to circle it back to Michael now, because I want to hear his expert advice. Dealers tuning into this, maybe absorbing this for the very first time in this category. What advice do you have for them to kind of start delving into this market and taking advantage of it?
Well, I mean, what we always try to help our customers with is, you know, they know their market the best. So, you know, if you know where the local landscapers buy their trailers, you might want to go present these types of products to that trailer dealer. If you know where people are buying fifth wheels and those kind of products, you might want to, you know, engage with them, because like you pointed out, it's a lot more fun to work on 50 vehicles at a time as opposed to one. And with these types of products, it gives you the ability to do that and really engage in you know, high dollar sales with other businesses. And then in terms of the blind spot product, you know, that's a product that's been in need for a pretty long time now, because as Dan had mentioned, the limitations with pickup trucks, you know, just your standard pickup truck that doesn't have blind spot, we can't really do much there because of the metal bumper. But then when you get, you know, even further down the road with truck bodies and those kind of products, there's nothing that's been done to add that level of safety that the person that might be driving that fleet vehicle on a daily basis is accustomed to in their own personal vehicle. And now being able to add that to those commercial type of vehicles that come in so many different shapes and sizes, whether it's a van or it's a aftermarket truck body, so giving people those additional safety features that they're becoming more accustomed to, and then just adding it to those more commercial, types of vehicles.
Yeah, awareness is key in the ADAS space. Most customers don't even know these technologies exist in the aftermarket. So it's your job as a dealer to let them know. You know what I mean? Hey, I noticed you have a vehicle. Did you know that you could have this or this? If you don't mention it, they would never know. You can't expect them to know. And it's the dealer's job really to. It's our job to let the dealers know. It's the dealer's job to let the customer know. Dan, real quick, inventory-wise, I noticed that 2 of those items we were talking about summer 2021. What about everything else?
Just about everything else is in stock. Everybody's had a lot of supply chain issues. We haven't been hit very hard in this particular category like some of the other companies out there that are in the audio space or even in the video space on our video side of the business. But we've had really good luck so far, and we're in stock on just about everything. One thing I do want to point out for the retailers that are watching today, a lot of the trailer product, you may be thinking commercial and landscapers and those types of people, but you may be doing upfits on ATVs and UTVs, and you can easily add this to that customer's trailer just to give them a little bit more safety when they're out on the weekends towing their ATV or UTV around. So just a little bit different spin.
No, but it's important because the UTV customer is a complete customer, and it's very hot right now, obviously, in UTV, as you know. Bill, I'm going to leave the last word with you, sir. What would you like our audience to walk away from this episode with?
We've got a lot of great technology. And like I mentioned in my introduction, Rostra and Vox, of course, have been around for years and years. And, the things that we're coming out with are not going to slow down. So, follow us online, hit us up on social media, and just watch out for all the great stuff we're releasing.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, I can't thank you enough. I wish you guys a great weekend, and thank you for taking the time to spend with us on CMA Connected.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Take care, gentlemen. All right. So that's a wrap on this episode. Rostra, of course, a Vox electronics company, getting your learn on about some cruise control, some backup camera solutions, for trailer, and your truck, of course, and that snazzy new commercial application for blind spot and rear cross traffic detection that goes on the outside if you have those metal bumpers, right? That's it. Great episode. I can't say enough. I mean, I'll be honest. If I was to open a shop, there is no doubt in my mind ADAS would be a big part of it. I feel that is untapped, and I talk, you can hear it. I've been in those situations and conversations. People don't know. You got to make them know. You make them know, they will pay for it. That I can almost guarantee. Wishing everybody a great weekend this weekend. We'll be back on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, of course, of every week during lunchtime, so you can get your learn on. I'm your host, Ben Wu, for another session of CMA Connected presented by Sirius XM. Have a great weekend, everybody.